Welcome to the Nitro College Football Show, college football from a Georgia perspective. I'm Burl.
And I'm Streit.
And today we are talking the College Football Playoff National Championship between the Ohio State Buckeyes and the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. We'll run down our thoughts and keys to the game, and we'll share our predictions at the end. So let's dive on in. Ohio State, number 8, 9.5-point favorite to win against number 7 Notre Dame. Crazy big brands in this game. You know, we've got the cheapest tickets to this game at $1,500. I mean, what's not to love?
Yeah, so next Monday night here in Atlanta, the Mercedes-Benz Stadium will host Ohio State and Notre Dame. Ohio State will be playing for its fifth national title, or in its fifth national title game since 2002. They're 2-2 in those contests. Of course, they won following the 2002 season and after the 2014 season, the first year of the college football playoff. But they also lost in 2006 to Florida, and they lost in 2020 to Alabama. Their last championship was, of course, as mentioned, that 2014 season when they won the very first college football playoff, defeating Oregon. For Notre Dame, this is their second national title game appearance since 1988, the last time they won a national title. Of course, they played in the 2012 game, after the 2012 season, they played Alabama in what many will remember as the Manti Te'o game, where Alabama just drubbed them across the field, and Notre Dame was kind of nationally embarrassed because their best player had a fake girlfriend. It'll be a good test for Notre Dame facing a formidable Ohio State team that has looked really strong in the playoffs. Both of these coaches are looking for their first national championship. Ryan Day, who, believe it or not, is now in his 6th season at Ohio State. And that was crazy when I actually looked that up.
Yeah, and this is a huge game for him. I mean, it's almost make or break for him.
Yeah, I mean, we talked coming into the playoffs that if Ohio State didn't win the national title here, that his job might be in jeopardy. I think it's probably pretty safe now that they've at least made it to the national title game and looked really good, but it still would be an indictment a little bit of him if they don't win with the roster that they have and the ability to play on the field that they've shown the last few weeks. On the flip side, you've got Marcus Freeman, a young rising star in college football, just in his 3rd year at Notre Dame after taking over for Brian Kelly, when Brian Kelly left, famously saying that he wanted to go to a place that could support him and win championships. And
funny enough, Marcus Freeman is a former Ohio State Buckeye linebacker.
I did not know that. But also funny enough, Brian Kelly has not won crap since he went to LSU.
Which is hilarious.
Which is hilarious, other than his quarterback winning the Heisman Trophy. But
what's more hilarious, him not winning or his little dumb recruiting thing with the camera going 360 around him with the stupid dance?
Or my family,
when he turned on the accent. Yeah, that doesn't work for anybody. I mean,
no. So, in terms of the history between these two teams, Ohio State holds a 6-0 all-time series in this game. And when I saw that, I thought that was a little weird because I thought for sure these programs had played more than that. Obviously, Notre Dame, historically, as an independent, has played a lot of Big Ten teams very, very regularly, but Ohio State is not one of them. I know they played in a bowl game. I think it was in the Fiesta Bowl one year back in the 2010s. But then these teams, oddly enough, have actually played the last 2 seasons before this. They met in the 2022 and 2023 seasons, and Notre Dame should have actually won the 2023 game. Ohio State scored on the final play of the game to win in South Bend last year. A very, very, very close game that Ohio State ended up getting the win on the last play of the game. So,
there's a lot of talk from Notre Dame about wanting this rematch. I believe Jeremiah Love, after the game last week, even said that.
Yeah. So Ohio State obviously goes into this game as a big favor, as you mentioned. It's a 9.5-point spread right now. I think it opened at like 8.5, but it's jumped up pretty quick. This is the second largest spread in college football playoff national title game history. Of course, second only to Georgia being favored by 13.5 over TCU. And needless to say, that game did not end up as a 13.5 point game because Georgia beat them by 58 points. I don't foresee Ohio State beating Notre Dame by 58 points, but you never know.
Crazier things have happened.
Ohio State coming into this game has really found its power, its star power. This team that was already one of the best in the country that spent heavily in the offseason has really put it together here in the playoffs. They beat 3 of these stronger teams in the country, 2 SEC teams in Tennessee and Texas, as well as the Big Ten champion in Oregon. And they didn't just beat them, they beat them by a combined total of 59 points. So beating those 3 marquee programs, all 3 that were amongst the best defenses in the country by that amount, shows a lot about what this team is capable of. Now, on the flip side, Notre Dame has been one of the hottest teams in the country. They dropped a game early in the season to Northern Illinois. That is baffling that happened. But since then, they have won 12 games in a row. And they've come in, they've got a lot of confidence after beating Indiana, who was having its best season in the history of its program, the SEC champion in Georgia, and beating, a strong Penn State team. So could be a good matchup on paper, but we'll see what happens. What are some keys of the game, Burl?
So so Ohio State can now officially say that they ran through the SEC. Because they did. This is going to be an interesting game because you got the number 1 and number 2 scoring defenses in the country going at it, which is crazy to think that we're going to see that. But on the flip side of that, Notre Dame has the number 6 scoring offense to Ohio State's number 12 scoring offense. Now that's regular season, right? Postseason, a little different. Ohio State is averaging almost 450 yards of total offense in the playoff and 37 points per game. Notre Dame is only averaging 340 yards and 26 points per game. So to put that in perspective, the point differentials that we're looking at, Ohio State has a point differential of 59 over the past 3 games, where Notre Dame is 26. Right. That's a huge number. So for Ohio State, they just need to keep doing what they're doing. They need to be who they have been the past 3 weeks. Frankly, the only team right now that can stop Ohio State is Ohio State and Michigan. But the blueprint for them is that they're going to play awesome defense. That's pretty much a given. And on offense, they just have to keep Will Howard clean. If they keep him off the ground, keep him from getting pressured, he's going to find one of those 1,000 targets that they have to make a play. If they take away Jeremiah Smith like Texas did, then okay, cool. Well, we got Ibuka and Tate and Judkins and Henderson. I mean, good Lord, it just keeps going on. I mean, all of these guys are going to be playing on Sundays. So right. They just keep doing what they're doing, keep Will Howard upright, and they'll be just fine. They'll be national champions. And Ryan Day will get to keep his job, and maybe he stops dyeing his beard.
Yeah, I mean, I think for Ohio State in this game, they'll have a couple things they want to do. Number one, they will want to sustain drives and get points as much as they can. I think the strategy for Notre Dame is going to be to try to slow down and control the clock. Their running game is their strength, not their quick game passing. So I think they are going to try to keep all those weapons you talked about. I think they're going to want to keep them off the field as much as possible. That means they're going to take their time. They're going to use Riley Leonard. They're going to use Price and Jeremiah Love. They're going to run the ball and try to, keep Ohio State from chance to quick score. I think for Ohio State, like I said, I think the key will be sustaining drives. Ohio State in their first 2 games in the playoff got out the huge leads and then just kind of sat on the other teams. Anytime they kind of bubbled up a little bit, they squashed it, scored quickly, and put them away. It was a little bit different of a story last week when another defense was stepping up and matching their defensive intensity. So I think their goal will be to get up early because they don't want to get into a shoving match with a physical team like Notre Dame, because that's what happened when they played Michigan. Michigan was physical with them on the lines and was able to push them around. And when Ohio State suddenly couldn't score and score fast, it gave Michigan the opening they needed to win the game. So if you're Notre Dame, that's what you hope for. You hope for a tough physical game that's low scoring, that you're pushing them around, and you're able to beat them on the line of scrimmage. If you're Ohio State, you're looking for fast scores early on, get up early, and then sit on them. I think if that's kind of what happens. That's how I see the game going. For Notre Dame to win, it's got to be lower scoring, and it's got to be controlling the line of scrimmage.
Yeah. So let's talk about Notre Dame a little bit. So what does Notre Dame have? They've got grit, they've got great coaching, and they've got a dynamic running game and an opportunistic defense. All things that you need to, win a championship. In order for Notre Dame to win this game, they're going to have to win the turnover battle and give themselves plus position, like they did against Georgia, to keep Ohio State off the field, get more possessions, but having that short field and taking advantage of that and scoring touchdowns when they're in the red zone and staying away from field goals. Field goals are not going to win this game for Ohio State. Maybe at the game winning and field goal if it's close, but they, just like you said, they got to keep Ohio State's offense off the field, and that defense, they've got some ball hawks back there. They got their Watt leads the nation in interceptions this year, so look for him to make some plays, and that's going to be the formula for success for Notre Dame. That's been the blueprint so far.
Yep. I would say one thing is if it does come down to the kicking game, at least for Notre Dame, since Mitch Jeter has gotten healthy, he has solidified that kicking game. So they at least do have confidence that their kicker can kick it deep. And I think early in the season they didn't have that. So, Ohio State's been been beaten by the inability to make a long field goal to win a game. So if it comes down to the kickers, that's the one place that I do see an edge for Notre Dame.
Yeah, because even this year, the Ohio State's had some issues with some kicks. We saw during the Michigan game. That was, when it got important, the cheeks clenched, made a still left. So yeah, all right. So let's talk predictions. But before we get to predictions, we want to thank you so much for spending your time with us. Hit that like button on the video and drop some comments. And if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel and tell your friends. It really helps the show grow, helps us keep doing this. And also, tell us what you'd like us to talk about by hitting us up on Twitter at The Nitro Show and on Instagram at The Nitro Show Pod.
Yeah. And if you're listening to the podcast on audio, go ahead and write a review for the show. Give us a like on this episode and leave us a comment. We'd love to hear from you. As Burl mentioned, we're gearing up for the off season, and we'd love to hear from you guys what you might want us to talk about in the off season. So drop us a line. Thanks a lot.
All right. It's predictions time. National championship, final game of the year. Gosh, what are we going to do after this?
Oh, we got lots in store, Burl.
What are we going to do with all this time that we have back in our lives on Saturdays?
I don't know. Maybe Home Depot. Maybe Bed Bath & Beyond. I don't know if I'll have enough time.
Absolutely. Well, mine will be spent with cheer. So, all right. So who you got?
So Notre Dame has certainly proved that it's back amongst the powers in college football. For years it's kind of been the joke. Notre Dame has this storied history, but nobody really believes with them. But in the last few weeks, obviously stepping up, knocking off Georgia, knocking off Penn State, they've proven that, Coach Marcus Freeman has really brought this team up, made them tough on the lines of scrimmage, and to be able to compete some areas that they were kind of seen as not as strong in the past. he built upon the success that Brian Kelly started. And, Brian Kelly was very solid as the coach of Notre Dame, always 9-10 wins. But they were just a little bit behind everybody else. So the type of effort that they would need to win this game would be similar to what they had to beat Georgia. They would have to slow down this multifaceted Ohio State attack to be able to keep them in the game and keep it low scoring. For Ohio State, the star level has finally met the expectations that everyone had for them coming into the season during this playoff. They faced a really tough challenge in Texas last week, and getting that late fumble to secure the touchdown, made them seem like they won the game a lot more, but it really was a hard-fought, tough game. And so, it gave that team both a sense of confidence that, hey, we can go blow somebody out, but also we can win a close game. So for my 2024 national title pick, obviously this game is in 2025, but it's for the 2024 national championship, I'm going to take Ohio State to win this game, and I think that they cover the 9.5 points. I don't think this game is going to be a crazy blowout like the last time Notre Dame played in the national title game when they lost to Alabama in 2012. But I think Ohio State is just way too talented for Notre Dame. Notre Dame has been a great story, developing program, strong running game, strong defensive front. But I just think Ohio State is playing so well right now, and they have so much going for them on offense that they're going to get it done. They're going to pick up their first national championship since 2014. Burl, who do you got?
So Ohio State is the juggernaut. Ohio State is the freight train, so to speak, coming down the track. On purpose, number one defense in college football led by Jack Sawyer. Great name, by the way. And not to mention Caleb Downs. Oh, yeah, he's there. Notre Dame. I love me some Notre Dame. Great story. Notre Dame really is the Cinderella story of the playoff. If you want to really look at it, they've been able to pull off wins against more talented teams in Georgia and Penn State. I mean, both Georgia and Penn State, you look at their rosters up and down, and they got dudes that are going to be playing on Sundays. I mean, pretty much the whole defense for Georgia. And you got those two amazing running backs at Penn State and Tyler Warren and all these other guys. Their defense is solid too. Marcus Freeman, he's really given the most impressive coaching performance in college football, hands down. So it's all coming down to Monday night. And unfortunately, the clock will be striking midnight for Notre Dame, and no Hunchback to save them. So give me Ohio State. They win. They cover. It's just too much talent, man.
I agree with you, Burl. And all right, so that will wrap up our College Football Playoff National Championship game preview. Once again, if you like the show, please, please, please leave us a like. And don't forget to subscribe. We're really trying to grow this channel, and we really need as many subscribers as we can. Thanks for listening. Burl, you got any final thoughts?
Just looking forward to the game, man.
All right. Well, we will talk again next week when we recap everything that happened. But until then, go Dogs.
Go Dogs.